Emma Carter's 19th birthday ended with a backpack on the front porch. No cake, no celebration, just the sharp click of a lock turning behind her while the evening wind swept across the small Texas town she had called home all her life. For several seconds, she simply stood there. Porch light glowed above her. Through the window, she could see her mother moving around the kitchen as if nothing had happened. Emma swallowed hard. Inside her backpack were a few clothes, a sleeping bag, and one thing she treasured more than anything else: a tarnished silver compass. It had belonged to her grandfather, Walter Carter, the only person who had ever made her feel wanted. He had died 2 years earlier. Since then, everything had slowly fallen apart. Emma gripped the compass tightly and started walking. She had $43 in her pocket, no plan, no home, and nowhere to go. That night she slept on a bench behind a closed gas station. The air turned cold after midnight. She wrapped herself inside the sleeping bag and stared at the stars. At dawn, her phone vibrated, a voicemail. The message was from a lawyer. "Miss Carter, this is Robert Gaines. Please contact my office regarding property recently transferred into your name." Emma listened twice. She owned nothing. The call made no sense. Yet it was the first piece of hope she had felt in months. The next morning, she borrowed a phone charger from a diner and called back. The lawyer confirmed everything. Walter Carter had left her a ranch, a deserted ranch near Alpine, Texas. Nobody had contacted her sooner because of legal delays. Emma sat silently after the call ended. A ranch. She knew nothing about ranches, but it was shelter. And right now, shelter meant everything. 3 days later, she boarded a bus heading west. The landscape changed mile after mile. Cities became towns. Towns became empty stretches of desert. Hours later, the bus rolled into Alpine. A dusty pickup truck waited outside. The lawyer's assistant drove her the remaining distance. The ranch appeared at sunset. Emma's heart sank. The house leaned slightly to one side. Fence posts lay scattered across dry ground. One were cracked. The barn looked ready to collapse. This was not the miracle she had imagined. The assistant handed her a ring of keys. Most people would have sold it years ago. Then he left. Emma stood alone. The wind whistled through broken boards. For a moment she considered turning around. But she had nowhere else to go. She unlocked the front door. Dust floated through golden sunlight. The place smelled abandoned. Yet something about it felt familiar. On the mantel sat an old photograph, her grandfather smiling. Waiting. Emma spent the next week cleaning. Every day brought new problems: broken pipes, rotting wood, rusted tools. The ranch seemed determined to fight her, but each evening she sat on the porch holding the silver compass. Somehow it made her feel less alone. One afternoon, she discovered strange carvings on a beam inside the barn. Symbol marks. Lines and arrows. At first she ignored them. Then she noticed something unusual. One symbol matched an engraving on the back of the compass. Emma's pulse quickened. Her grandfather had carved these, but why? The following morning, she searched the property. More symbols appeared, one on an old fence post, another beneath a water tank. Each pointed in a different direction. Together they formed a path. The trail eventually led toward a stone well behind the barn. Emma stepped closer. The compass needle suddenly spun. She frowned. Then it settled, not north, toward the well. Emma tested it again. Same result. A strange feeling settled over her. The compass was showing her something. That night she barely slept. The next morning, she lowered herself into the dry well, using an old ladder. Near the bottom she found another symbol. This one pointed directly beneath the barn. Excitement mixed with fear. For 2 days she searched. Finally, she noticed loose floorboards hidden beneath stacks of junk. She pulled them aside. A rusted metal ring appeared, Her hands trembled. She lifted it. A concealed trapdoor opened with a groan. Cold air rushed upward. Darkness waited below. Emma grabbed a flashlight. Every instinct told her to stop. Instead, she climbed down. A tunnel stretched beneath the ranch, narrow, silent, forgotten. Dust covered the floor. Wooden support beams lined the walls. Some looked dangerously old. Emma moved slowly. The beam of her flashlight revealed crates, shelves, and old lanterns. The tunnel was far larger than she expected. Someone had spent years building it. Then she found documents sealed inside metal containers, maps, letters, purported records. Most carried her grandfather's name. Emma sat down and began reading. The tunnel's purpose slowly emerged. Decades earlier, severe droughts had devastated the region. Families lost homes. Children went hungry. Many traveled across the desert, searching for work and shelter. Local ranchers secretly created safe routes and supply tunnels. Walter's family helped maintain one of them. The hidden passage became a lifeline. Food, water, medicine, and supplies moved through it. Hundreds survived because of those efforts. Emma felt tears forming. This wasn't treasure. It was something far more valuable. History, compassion, proof that people had once protected one another. Then she noticed another folder. Inside were land records, lots of them. She stared in disbelief. Over the years, neighboring parcels had quietly been purchased and added to the ranch. Most people never realized it. The ranch was far larger than county maps suggested. Its value was enormous. Suddenly, many things made sense, including what happened next. A week later, a developer arrived. His name was Daniel Mercer. He wore expensive boots and a practiced smile. He offered to buy the ranch immediately. For cash, the amount sounded generous. Emma declined. Mercer's smile faded. "Think carefully," he said. Then he drove away. Within days, strange things started happening. Survey crews appeared near property lines. Legal notices arrived. Questions about ownership surfaced. The pressure grew steadily. Emma suspected Mercer knew something. She contacted local historians. Soon experts visited the ranch. They examined the tunnel, studied the documents, reviewed the records. Their reactions shocked her. The discovery was significant. Very. News spread quickly. Reporters arrived. Community leaders became involved. The tunnel represented a forgotten chapter of regional history. Meanwhile, Mercer became increasingly aggressive. Publicly, he claimed the tunnel had no importance. Privately, he continued trying to purchase the property. Emma eventually learned why. A proposed commercial project depended on land surrounding the ranch. If the tunnel gained historical protection, his development plans would face major obstacles. The fight moved into court. Emma felt terrified. For the second time in her life, she faced losing everything. Only now she had something worth protecting. Weeks turned into months. The courtroom battles continued. Some nights she sat alone on the ranch porch, holding her grandfather's compass. Whenever doubt appeared, she remembered why she stayed. The ranch had sheltered people before her. Now it was asking her to do the same. Community support grew stronger. Former residents shared family stories connected to the tunnel. Historians presented evidence. Archived photographs surfaced. The truth became impossible to ignore. Finally, the ruling day arrived. Emma sat quietly inside the courtroom, her hands wrapped around the compass. The judge reviewed the findings. The tunnel qualified for historical protection. The ranch ownership remained fully hers. The surrounding land claims were validated. Mercer's challenge failed. Emma closed her eyes. Relief washed over her. Months of fear suddenly disappeared. Outside the courthouse, people applauded. Several strangers hugged her. For the first time in years, she felt something unexpected. belonging. The following year transformed everything. Grants helped restore the ranch. Volunteers repaired buildings. The tunnel became a preserved historical site. Visitors arrived from across Texas. School groups toured the passageways. Families learned stories that had nearly been forgotten forever. Emma remained on the ranch. She planted gardens, repaired fences, restored the old barn. Piece by piece, the property came back to life. One evening, she stood near the entrance of the tunnel. The desert sky glowed orange and gold. She opened her grandfather's compass. For years, she believed it pointed toward a place. Now she understood, it pointed toward purpose, toward people, toward home. Walter had never left her wealth. He had left her responsibility, a chance to preserve something meaningful, a chance to build shelter where others once found it, a chance to belong. The abandoned ranch nobody wanted became the foundation of a new life. And the hidden tunnel changed everything, not because it contained treasure, but because it revealed the truth her grandfather had wanted her to discover all along. Even after losing everything, a person can still find their way home.